From a dispatch employee who gets aggressive with a customer over a call, to a workshop employee who cuts corners on fixing, this video is going to cover some of the rudest and most idiotic employees who have ever been on Undercover Boss. Now, this one's gonna be one hell of a ride. Let's kick it off with this owner of a luxury chauffeur transportation service that has locations in over 700 cities worldwide going undercover. David Seelinger, chairman and CEO of Empire CLS, was this episode's boss, and he was going undercover to figure out whether his company was running smoothly.
You're gonna see me sort of preppy. I don't know how they'll spot me looking like that.
His first destination? Affiliate to Las Vegas, and he's gonna do some chauffeuring. But Seelinger off to a rocky start.
You're not picking up a corp, you're picking up somebody that's alive, smile.
He was out with Jackie to pick up the first customer, and Seelinger was not exactly getting the picture. But once the customer inside the car, it was a mess.
Okay.
Watch your speed, won't you have clients? Watch your speed.
Okay, you should have said watch your head.
Damn, and that happened just after the warning Jackie gave. His driving skills were horrible. Jackie was not impressed.
Honey cannot chew gum, drive, talk to the customers at the same time because it will be a fatality.
She's not wrong. Things could have gone horribly wrong. But hey, things take a turn for the worse when Seelinger heads out to Secaucus, New Jersey to work at the Empire CLS headquarters. He was quite excited about this job since he felt this was an area of his business that he didn't have much hands-on experience with. Uh-oh, looks like the employees are gonna have to watch out for this since Seelinger is gonna be extra aware of everything that was going on there. Sometime later, Seelinger's on the grind at the Logistics Dispatch Center, where they handle customers like it's the heart and soul of the company. They're teaming up with Anthony, a seasoned dispatcher, to pick up the tricks of the trade. Right off the bat, Seelinger's totally vibing with how Anthony gets things done.
The perfect dispatcher is somebody that can juggle a lot of things at one time.
Let me see if I can get you a price on that, all right?
Now, Anthony gives a demo to Seelinger before letting him handle a customer call. This is when a customer calls in saying they have to make another stop. The customer explains his situation and Anthony asks the customer to put the chauffeur on the line. This is when Anthony has a sudden shift in his attitude.
Yeah. Is this on the way to his house? You don't have me on speakerphone, do you? I want to talk to you, not him.
He tells the chauffeur to take him off speaker since he only wants to speak to the chauffeur himself. Seelinger looks quite shocked at this rude attitude of Anthony's. Since the customer is asking for an extra stop, it definitely does cause a delay in the travel, but the customer requests this since he was a long-standing customer of the company. Despite this, Anthony doesn't seem to get it.
I'm adding an extra stop. There's no question within my mind. But it's on the way home. You're lying to me.
That's right, he calls him a liar. This guy was just asking to be fired. Luckily for him, Seelinger actually hears his story out, which ultimately lets him keep his job. This guy just cut it too close. After that, we have Mitchell B. Modell, the owner and CEO of Modell Sporting Goods, who was featured in the first episode of the 4th season. He appreciates how well he takes his job, but was still curious as to why the store wasn't doing as well as the others. So this is when he finally gets a proper answer. You see, this store wasn't getting any high-end sneakers. What was even worse is that James had done his part of informing the helpline about the lack of stock, but to his surprise,
knowing what she's gonna be going home to. It literally broke my heart.
He was in tears, and to be honest, anyone would after hearing that for sure. He knew he had to do something about it, so what he does next is shocking. That sure gotta do it. But hey, let's keep things moving. This next CEO is not the one to go undercover, but instead, the chief talent officer of Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, Lynn Zappone, is the one to go undercover during the 6th episode of the 3rd season. At the time of the episode, Zappone was fairly new to the company, and Hawkins didn't really have any real experience. His reaction to this is just priceless.
I forgot. What, girl, you forgot just that fast? I be what thing?
Aaron then starts to go on a rant, and trust me, he shouldn't have gone on this one.
This complete and total, but no reason. Like, what are you mad about?
He did not like the corporate world that controlled the chains, and was very vocal about how he disapproved of his bosses who wore suits and walked around all haughty. Little did he know he was directly talking to one of them. Next up, this employee has a different approach when it comes to training newcomers. The boss is shocked to see that such an employee is working at his establishment.
So, like this right here, because nobody is like in here, I would sweep that up.
Okay.
You can do it.
This was the 5th episode of the 5th season of Undercover Boss, and the company for this episode was Menchie's, a self-serve frozen yogurt chain based out of Encino, California. Menchie's has locations in over 35 states in the US and in over 8 countries. The man leading this company was Amit Kleinberger. Kleinberger goes undercover as Alan Stein, an aspiring entrepreneur on a TV show looking for experience to start his own business. The camera crew were all set up under this ruse, and a fake host was even hired for this task. Quite the commitment to make sure things are low-key. After his first job in Seattle, Washington, Kleinberger heads out to Bonnie Lake in Washington to shadow yet another shift leader. Kleinberger is assigned to Drew, a shift leader working at the location. As Drew starts to explain the do's and don'ts of the job, Kleinberger is upset with the lack of enthusiasm that she explains with. She tells Kleinberger in the most boring tone about how things were going to work, and this has left Kleinberger in an annoyed state. Drew sure is pushing the boss's buttons without even realizing it. Since the customer walks in, Drew takes this chance to give a demo of what was supposed to be done and how. After this, Drew turns around to Kleinberger and tells him the importance of having to always keep a smile while on the job. But this is when Drew says something that will shock you.
Pretty people should not do anything.
Yeah, I plan to marry a plastic surgeon and not have to do anything.
You want to marry a plastic surgeon?
Yeah.
That was Drew's attempt at cracking a joke, but Kleinberger doesn't seem to be too impressed by her. Behind the cameras, Drew says that talking to Kleinberger is like talking to a wall. No way to be talking about the CEO, especially not behind his back and on camera. Drew then explains some more parts of the job, and then tells Kleinberger to start sweeping the place while singing songs about how she doesn't want to work. Mind you that she's saying all this out loud while the customers are present. Kleinberger puts his complete effort into the jobs he's given, but Drew? She didn't seem too interested.
Working the front of the house, I'm cleaning tables, cleaning the machines from the front, the drip trays, just taking care of the front of house.
She doesn't glance over or even give him any instructions on how to do the job properly. All she had done was given a briefing and then asked a newbie to clean up. This was no way for an existing employee to talk to a new one. The two of them go about the different parts of the job, and Kleinberger comes to the realization that he wasn't learning anything on the job. Drew constantly kept dropping hints at what she wanted him to do while she stood around bossing him. Kleinberger is pissed off, and he's disappointed that this was the way that his employees were being trained. After Kleinberger and Drew go drop off some of the garbage, the two return to the store to continue their shifts. During this, Drew says this to Kleinberger, and he will not believe it.
Working here at Menchie's pretty much sucks. Yeah, it's not my favorite.
She thinks it's completely okay to badmouth the same company she's working for. Can you believe that? The hypocrisy is unbelievable. But she doesn't stop there. You gotta hear what she says next.
Really?
I feel like pretty people shouldn't have to do anything.
Drew tells Kleinberger that pretty people shouldn't be allowed to do anything, and all Kleinberger can do is laugh at this statement. No employee has ever looked right in the eye of the boss and uttered these words. Drew sure is an example of a terrible employee. Following that mess of an employee, we have another one who managed to get on the wrong side of the boss when he tells the boss of something shocking. In the 4th episode of the 6th season, the president of Maaco, an automotive car franchise, goes undercover to see if his company was functioning like a well-oiled engine. Jose Costa, the president of the company, was controlling over 480 shops throughout the US and more in Canada. Costa had made his way into the business after coming to the US as an immigrant. Despite being the president of an automotive shop franchise, Costa didn't have much experience with cars. Looks like his time undercover is gonna be tough.
I was shocked. I was expecting a younger person, but everybody gets a chance.
Despite this, Costa was given the position because of his talents, and this says a lot about him as a person. While going undercover, Costa's concerns are on how well the employees and franchises were following the company's guidelines.
Every time on this fender, you get a half an hour to fix that.
Like most of the episodes, Costa was going undercover as an Argentinian entrepreneur on a TV show trying to win his own business. Costa makes sure his disguise is believable, and then he's all set for his undercover job. Costa makes his way to his first job in Orlando, Florida, where he would be working as a body technician. Costa had particularly chosen this franchise since they had the best reviews for body detailing and ranked number 9 on the overall list. Costa is paired with Jim, a body technician working at the franchise. Costa makes it very clear to the camera that he was indeed nervous about the job since he had no prior experience in such a field. The two meet and Jim doesn't waste any time and instructs Costa to first go and change into the uniform. Jim then brings Costa over to the first car that he would work on and explains to him what all needed to be done for the job. Each dent and scratch that were on the car had to be cleared off within a specific amount of time. Otherwise, a body tech could be stuck on the same work for several hours, and since the employees were getting paid for the work they do and not the amount of time they work, time was money. Jim makes it clear that Costa gets what he's talking about.
Time is money, time is money. If you want to make more, you have to work more.
After this, the two of them get to work and Costa seems to be doing okay in his job. Meanwhile, Jim watches over Costa to make sure that the work is done right and on time. Costa is given a car all to himself to work on, and Jim comes and goes as he checks on the work being done. While sanding the car that he is given, Costa messes up, and Jim says that his 3-year-old child could do better. Jim struggles to put it as nicely as possible when it comes to telling Costa that he sucked. This is when Jim comes back around to the point of managing time and blurts out something he shouldn't have.
What you can get away with when it's painted, you know what? Not every dent has to be 100%.
Costa is disappointed when he hears this and even questions Jim. Jim replies telling him that cutting corners sometimes is all right, as long as the work is completed on time. Looks like Jim's got his time management down, but his ethics are still lacking a lot to be desired. This next episode is slightly different from the remaining ones, since the owner and CEO himself did not go undercover, but instead, he sent his chief operating officer who also happens to be his daughter. This was the 6th episode of the 4th season.
The chief operating officer of the company.
Tina Chu, the COO of Mandarin Restaurants, decided that she would go undercover in her father's place since he was way too recognizable. Tina goes undercover as Jenny, who is on a reality show as a trainee.
I'm looking for Stone.
Yes, I am.
Oh, hi, I'm Jenny. I'm gonna work with you today.
How are you? Welcome to Mandarin.
Oh, thanks.
For her 3rd job, Jenny heads to Oshawa, Ontario to work alongside one of the chefs. This was the most important part of the restaurant, since the food determined everything. Jenny starts her work with one of the chefs, Stone, and right off the bat, Jenny doesn't have a proper hang of her cooking skills. This is seen when Stone demonstrates how to cut the vegetables, and Jenny manages to cut her finger. Stone wasn't too impressed.
What's your style, man?
I'm finding it difficult to cut the vegetables evenly.
The two of them then move over to the next preparation, which are the wontons. This job is so easy to Stone that he gives Jenny a challenge to complete wrapping 50 wontons in a matter of just 5 minutes. Mind you, this was no simple feat, but Stone seemed to be okay with Jenny working at her own pace. Without wasting any time, Stone moves on to the next dish, which was the soft noodles. This is when things start to get heated.
I made a fire.
Jenny takes over after Stone's demonstration, but cooking with a wok is no joke, and Jenny fails miserably. She even sets the wok on fire. If Stone hadn't stepped in, things could have gone terribly wrong. Man, Stone's definitely getting a raise after that one. Stone slowly starts to get weary of Jenny, and then reluctantly decides to teach her one of their specials, which is the Mongolian beef dish. After cooking up a serving, Stone tastes her dish, and things weren't looking good. You saw that right. He literally spits it out and tells Jenny that her cooking was inedible. The dish was so bad that Stone had to put Jenny's work on hold and continue his work. Otherwise, he would just be looking after her. Talk about being the owner and getting fired. Things sure got heated in this kitchen. Last but not least, this next employee takes it a bit too far when it comes to games. The boss is so infuriated that he immediately phones it in.
The way he approached and interacted with the girls, it's really not acceptable behavior. I think it is a serious matter. I think it needs some immediate action.
In the 2nd episode of the 1st season, the CEO of Hooters, Kobe Brooks, goes undercover to see if his company was operating within the same high standards. Headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, Hooters was one of the largest growing restaurants in the U.S. The company was started by Brooks' father in 1983, and the company had over 400 locations at the time of the episode. Since Hooters focused on employing women waiters, this had caused the name of Hooters to only be associated with women in short shorts. This meant that the company was falling behind in sales, and this is what Brooks wanted to find a solution for by going undercover. For his first job, Brooks heads out to Dallas, Texas, where he would be working in the kitchen helping out in the service. Little does Brooks realize that the day he would work was going to be super hectic.
There we go. I got it.
Brooks has a hard time managing to do all of his duties that are given to him, and struggles to keep calm while working, even breaking some dishes in the process. Brooks learns that the job required an employee to be on call at any point, especially during rush hours. After that, Brooks heads out to South Arlington, Texas to another one of his franchises. Brooks was there to observe the general manager, who was supposed to coach and take care of the employees. The manager at this branch was Jimbo, and his methods were going to be put to the test. Jimbo hands over the uniform to Brooks, Brooks and then sits down with him to explain what the job was gonna be. Jimbo and Brooks' first job together is inspecting the waitress's dress code. Jimbo brings over Brooks to introduce the girls, but Jimbo gives a nickname for Brooks, which Brooks isn't too happy about.
This is Scotty, okay? You can call him Scooter, all right? AKA Scotty. You with me?
Next we know, Jimbo lines up the women and brings them up one by one. The only disturbing part of this is that Jimbo doesn't check them. He also passes comments on the girls.
My, those are some non-glamorous nails you have.
Brooks is not at all comfortable with the way that Jimbo handles the floor, and his disagreement can be seen on his face.
The seat.
Although Jimbo is effectively doing his job, the way that he talks to the girls is unacceptable. Brooks is also confused by this very odd approach to doing things. The customers soon pour in and the place starts to get busy. When Brooks spends a little time with the customer's child, Jimbo disapproves and puts him back to work, calling him a rookie. Jimbo also takes complete control over the work environment and keeps the girls for longer periods of time. He doesn't even allow the school-going employees to leave. Instead, Jimbo forces the girls to participate in games of his own creation.
We're going to be following the position of one of our female managers. The female manager has got to have some different obstacles than a male manager. I don't know what those are.
He had decided that the girls would chow down on beans, but only with their mouths. Jimbo had gone too far. With that said, sadly we've come to the end of the video. Which employee did you find to be the worst? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked our video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys.